20% plus. That's the potential S&P 500 upside JPMorgan is putting on the table right now. And most investors have no idea what just hit them. Here's what's really going on. And what you should be thinking about right now. JPMorgan, one of the most powerful banks on the planet, has just published a bull case scenario calling for more than 20% upside in the S&P 500 over the next 12 months. That's not a fringe call. That's Wall Street's biggest player swinging big. The Dow just hit a record high this week. Right now. Not last quarter. This week. And the S&P 500 is tracking for another winning week on top of that. A peace deal with Iran is materializing on the horizon. Geopolitical risk, one of the market's biggest headwinds, is starting to price out. When fear leaves the room, capital rushes back in. Here's what that means for you directly. If JPMorgan's bull case plays out and you are sitting in cash right now, you could be watching a 20+% run from the sidelines. That's not a small miss. On a $100,000 portfolio, that's $20,000 walking out the door. Three major catalysts are converging simultaneously. Record equity levels, a top-tier bank issuing an aggressive upside call, and geopolitical de-escalation. The last time we saw this kind of alignment, markets ran hard and fast. But here's what nobody is saying about this yet. JPMorgan isn't calling this a certainty. They're calling it a scenario. And that word carries enormous weight. Bull cases require conditions. Conditions can break. The same report that puts 20% upside on the table also contains a bear case. The mainstream coverage is running with the headline. Smart investors read the footnotes. What needs to go right? Inflation has to stay cooperative. The Fed has to hold its nerve. Corporate earnings have to deliver. And that Iran deal has to actually close. Miss one of those? The calculus changes fast. First, revisit your cash position. Holding excess cash while a potential 20% equity run is being flagged by a major institution as a decision with a real opportunity cost. Understand what that cost might be. Second, look at sector exposure. Bull cycles don't lift every boat equally. Technology, financials, and cyclicals have historically led in environments where macro risk is easing and growth expectations are rising. Know where your portfolio is weighted. Third, define your downside before you chase the upside. JPMorgan's bull case is compelling, but position sizing and risk management are what separate investors who build wealth from those who give it back in the next correction. 20% potential upside, a record Dow, a peace deal in motion. What does this mean for your portfolio right now? Drop your take in the comments. I read every single one. This video is for educational purposes only, not financial advice. Always consult a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decisions.